Hey, what's going on, my friends? This is Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. I am excited for a returning guest today. Some of you guys may know this gentleman. Some of you will be meeting him for the first time, coming all the way from across the pond, from me, anyways. Okay, he may be local to some of you. My friend, fellow marketer, a platinum affiliate here at Legendary, and somebody who is crushing it, and I'm very proud of. James-Neville Taylor. What's up, my friend, my man, the legend? What's up, buddy?
What is up, Dave? How's it going? It's awesome to be here again. Thanks so much for inviting me back. Always good to see you, my friend.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. So, where exactly are you? Are you now? Where are you living? You were traveling there for a long time, and now I think you've been home for quite a while because of the pandemic and so forth. Where exactly do you live?
I'm just near Cambridge in the UK at the moment. I've been traveling around the UK. Obviously, we haven't been able to travel internationally lately. But yeah, a couple of years ago, I was all over the place, all over the world. And hopefully, all things going well, I'll be able to start that up again real soon. They've just opened the borders in the UK. Not able to travel to the US yet. That's what the biggest one that I'm aiming towards at the minute. But should be able to get started traveling again real soon.
Yeah, you did a lot of traveling there, and that's one of the things your business has afforded you to do. For those that don't know who you are, take us back in a nutshell and tell us how you got involved online in the first place, and what attracted you to it, and kind of just your kind of origin story.
Absolutely, yeah. So, to cut a long story short, I had a pretty messed up and troubled upbringing, suffered a lot of different abuse, moving into a lot of different kids' homes as a child, and pretty messed up until the kind of mid-20s, really. And when I was in 2017, I took an overdose and almost died. And that kind of spurred me to want to try again after not wanting to try and kind of locking myself away for almost 10 years. It spurred me to realize how much time I'd wasted and made me want to try again. So I jumped into digital marketing, jumped into affiliate marketing, and 6 months later, I made my first commission in affiliate marketing. And within under a year from trying to take my own life, I was actually a top affiliate for a certain company. And then since then, become a top affiliate for a number of other companies. Launched my own successful digital products as well, and earned over seven figures online so far since early 2017.
So I want to point out a couple of things. First of all, he said he earned his first commission within 6 months, but now he is running and operating a multiple 6 or 7 figure business here. And for those of you who are thinking that your business is not successful, and I really, really want you guys to lean into this for a second. If you're thinking that if you're in your first month or two or three or four, whatever it is, 5, 6, 7, whatever, and you've yet to get any results in at least what you would consider results, money, because results come in many different forms. But if you feel like you are failing, or that you are not going to be successful because you have not generated income or earned a commission within your first 6 months or plus, you're shortchanging yourself. Because listen to what the man just said. Over the course of how many years has it now been, James? When exactly was that when you got started?
Um, Over 4 years now. It was January 2017 when I first kind of jumped into digital marketing. I made my commission. I can remember the day that I made my first commission. It was the 3rd of August, 2017. So it was about 6 months pretty much on the
Wow.
nose.
And now you've earned well over $1 million. You're a top affiliate. You're creating your own products, and just think. That's why I always say, don't quit before the miracle happens. Because just imagine, and this is something that is kind of powerful and humbles me when I think about, what if I would have quit? What if I would have quit before I got that first commission result, whatever? Just imagine how different your life would be, James. Just talk us through that for just one moment, how different your life would be if you had quit before you had gotten that first sign of success, and how many other people who are probably even listening right now who are potentially on the brink, on the edge of quitting that same way right before that miracle happens. Could you just speak to that for a moment?
Yeah. I mean, I can't even imagine how much different my life would be. I don't even know. Who knows? I could have gone completely the other way. I might not even be here anymore. If I'd have, with the way I was back then, if I'd have hit some setbacks and stuff, you never know. I might not even be here anymore. But I definitely know my life would be very, very different to how it is now. I wouldn't be able to do all the amazing things that I've been doing, traveling around, helping my mum with like medical stuff and getting her the medical care that she needs and other things as well. So everything would be a lot different. I know I've been an inspiration to many of my family members as well. So it's not just my life that's been changed, but with what I've been able to accomplish over the last few years, I've also inspired a lot of people. I've changed a lot of other people's lives from my time speaking on stage and everything. So it would be worlds different, absolutely worlds different to where I am today. And that's, I think, I want to speak to what you said a minute ago on the kind of instant gratification thing. And there's a lot of people out there, especially in the online make money world. There's a lot of people claiming instant riches. You can get rich overnight. You can earn $1 million with just like an hour a week. And although there is some truth to that at a point, once you've put in the work beforehand, like I just recently went to Devon with my mum for a couple of weeks, and I still earned well over $20,000 over the course of the couple of weeks while I was there, even though I worked about an hour a week while I was down there. But I put in 18, 20 plus hour days for the last couple of years to build that up, to build to the point where I am now. Now I can take a month off and still earn multiple 5 figures a month, but I had to put in a heck of a lot of work, more work than most people are ever willing to put in on a weekly basis to get to the point that I am right now. So if you're willing to put in the work, what I'm saying is if you're willing to put in the work for 6 months, for a year, even if you don't see anything for those first 6 months, that first year, once you hit that point where you start getting some results, you can then take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit and start enjoying yourself a little bit.
Yeah. And you've been able to do quite a bit for your mom. You mentioned your mom. I know that you've been able to help her out. What has that been like for you, to be able to actually be a blessing to your mom, to your family, like you've been able to do?
It's been absolutely amazing. I mean, some of the healthcare that she got in the past, like on the NHS and stuff like that, was not it wasn't great. Let's just put it like that. So they kind of left her to kind of not. They kind of gave up on her and didn't give her the care that she needed. She didn't have physio and stuff like that. So I kind of took matters into my own hands over the last year and have been paying for her to get better, to be able to get treatment and stuff like that. So it's kind of given her a new lease of life. So to be able to see that and be able to have a direct impact on that, it's freaking priceless.
Yeah. And I don't think that, maybe I just want to restate this just in case people didn't hear it, is that you're on the brink of basically suicide. You're at rock bottom, and I can certainly relate to that. Could you just speak for a minute so people kind of have an idea of exactly what you were like, or where you were at mentally, just 4 years ago or so, before you started this journey? And of course, I'm not asking this to say that starting a business is any sort of supplement for getting mental health care or support or doctors or therapists or medication or anything like that. So I want to be very clear to all of the listeners. That's not what I'm saying. But I do want you to speak to those who feel like there's just no hope, whether it be for their personal life, for their business life, and how you've sort of transformed that over the course of the last 4 years. And of course, how you've maybe figured out a way to use your business as a way to contribute to healthy mental health.
Yeah, I mean, when I was when I was suicidal back in 2017, I kind of didn't find any joy in anything. Like I said, I locked myself away for almost a decade, and my social skills were absolutely terrible. Actually, back in 2017, I was so scared to even put a profile picture up on Facebook. Like, literally, I thought my self confidence was so low. I thought people would make fun of me. I thought people would joke about the way I looked. And I thought I didn't have anything useful to contribute. So I never posted anything original, never had any original thoughts or anything. And I was just really kind of beating myself up, whereas it was all in my head.
Yeah.
Really, but I was really beating myself up. The self-confidence was at ridiculous lows, and I just didn't find any joy in anything. I didn't think that I'd ever kind of feel any happiness again. I used video games for a lot of years to kind of supplement, to kind of get away from the real world and kind of get lost in a make-believe world. And when that started not bringing me any joy either, it was like, what is the point of living anymore? I just don't feel, I'm almost numb. I don't feel anything anymore.
Yeah.
But after that near-death experience, that kind of awoke a new purpose for me. It kind of made me realize not how stupid that I've been, but kind of how kind of like get over to try and get over the struggles and stuff that I'd been through. It kind of like just brought out a new side of me, which I didn't even know that even existed anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, the going through the actual transition of when I first got into marketing, it was a quantum leap from the first year, because of the results that I've been having, because I was putting myself out there. And I have a saying, whenever I speak on stage, I always say, feel the fear and do it anyway. Because if I hadn't have taken advantage of all the opportunities that I'd got, kind of like the first time that I made a post on Facebook, the first time that and these may seem like small, insignificant things to a lot of people, but when you're that beaten down, even just making a simple post on Facebook or putting a profile picture up can be a monumental step to
Yeah.
your growth. But all those first times, the first time putting a profile picture, the first time speaking on stage, the first time being on a summit or a podcast or anything, they all were incremental steps to me growing as a person, to building my self-confidence and being able to transform into the person I am today.
Yeah. That's incredible and very well said. We have a lot of guests on the show who are like using TikTok and stuff, and you're not even on TikTok really. I mean, you're not. That's not the primary way that you built your list and that you've generated traffic. So before we get into some of the mindset stuff and the balance stuff that you're kind of learning about now, as you're building a bigger business and you have more things going on in your life, can you talk just for a second for those people who just think that one platform is the only way to have success online, and everybody's kind of maybe gets a little bit kind of narrow-minded with kind of the blinders on and focused on one thing. You built your success before, or at least the foundation for your success, before TikTok was ever even here. It wasn't even invented yet, as did I. Can you talk a little bit about what you did at the beginning and sort of how you drove traffic, and even some of the things that you're testing and trying today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have been tempted by TikTok because I see that there's a good opportunity on there, but you've got to remember, you've got to focus on what's working. Don't get distracted by the next new shiny thing when you should be focusing on what's working right now. So I've stayed away from TikTok because I've got other things that are working for me right now. And I got my start on Facebook, Facebook organic. When I first started, I got a few credit cards out and I spent probably 10,000 on courses, on this, on that, trying to make stuff work. So I didn't have a big budget for ads. So my first success was with Facebook organic. So posting in Facebook groups the right way, obviously not spamming Facebook groups, but kind of like engagement posts on my wall and stuff like that, with Facebook. So that was where I got my first start. And then when I started to build up a little bit of recurring income, then I started to go into paid traffic. So I run a lot of Google ads, I run a lot of YouTube ads. And they're the two biggest platforms that I pay on. Facebook, honestly, Facebook ads are a pain in the ass. Like I've tried so many times with Facebook ads. They change their interface every week, and they're just so confusing. Once you think you've got it nailed down, they change everything. They change rules, and yeah, they're a nightmare, to be honest. But Google ads and YouTube ads are my two biggest ones that I pay to play on, and Facebook organic is my biggest one as well.
Yeah, that's cool. You know, yeah, Facebook is Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook is kind of its own monster. I feel like like Facebook is where I learned to advertise, and I feel like Facebook is kind of like New York City. Like if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
which is kind of one of the reasons why we in paid ads, even in our blueprints, we kind of start people out on Facebook, because if you can learn and understand Facebook, then you can advertise anywhere. That knowledge translates over to Google. That knowledge translates over to Yahoo, Bing, YouTube, which is Google. But I felt that was like really important for me to ask, because guys, there's billions of people on the internet. There's hundreds of different ways to generate traffic. You know, right now there's a couple of platforms that are getting more attention than others. For example, in our community, TikTok's gotten a lot of attention, but there's tons of different ways to generate traffic, and that's really the name of the game. Whether you're, I mean, especially in affiliate marketing, but even if you sell your own course or products or coaching, it's generating traffic. And how you do that is kind of the same way. The only additional thing that you could do is you could have affiliates promoting your products for you, which is just another way to generate traffic once you've built your own courses. But you've now sort of climbed that ladder of doing affiliate marketing, of creating your own courses, of even having your own affiliate program, and having enough streams of income, and doing enough of the right things that you've now increased your income significantly, and you've got a lot more on your plate. And one of the things that I know that you're encountering now is having to be more decisive with what you do say yes to, having to be more, I guess, careful what you allow onto your plate. You just said, I mean, that's a big statement to say, that I've said no to one of the hottest platforms to generate traffic in 2020 and 2021 because I'm focused on what I'm doing, because it's working for me, right? That's a big statement. That's how successful people are successful. For those of you who are wondering, it's not looking at what everybody else is doing and saying, oh, I have to do that and I have to be just like them. There's a point at which you become the Elon Musk and you say, you know what, this has never been done before, or I'm going to blaze my own trail and be different, right? And that's a little bit of what you've done. But you're also encountering sort of now figuring out how to balance more money, more income, more people who want things from you. As you've grown, talk to us about the current state of some of your challenges and some of the things that you're having to learn about and learn how to do, to give those who are just beginning maybe an idea of kind of what's to come and some of the new challenges that they might face as they grow as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like a balancing act. When you get to a certain point, you've got to decide what is best worth your time, because as you grow, as you get bigger, people will try and take your time from you, and you've really got to be careful with who you give your time to, where you choose to spend your time. Because there was a point actually not too long ago, towards the end of last year, where literally I found myself jumping on like 10 calls a day. I had like 10 different projects on the go. I had a Trello board the size of New York. It was ridiculous how many things I had going on, different projects, different stuff. And it comes to a point where you got to think, what is the highest use of my time? What is going to have the most impact? And where can I be most productive? So now I'm in the middle of building a team. I've got a couple of awesome team members who handle a lot of the stuff which I used to do manually, and a lot of new things going on which don't require me at the center of things. So I had a struggle. Obviously, you heard a little bit about my story. I've been let down a lot in my life. I find it hard to trust other people. So I was trying to do dozens of different things when they could be outsourced. It was like, I know how to do this. I want to do this myself. I want to make sure it gets done properly. So handing over the reins of that stuff to other people can be really, really difficult, especially when you've been through stuff like myself and you have. It's hard to hand over the reins to your business because that's your baby, right? You've spent all this time kind of nurturing it, building it up to the point it is right now. And then when it comes to kind of stepping away, it's really, really hard to kind of give it to the babysitter, if you will, to kind of help it along. So that's one of the biggest struggles that I'm facing at the moment. But the biggest struggle for me was, especially when I was growing, was not comparing myself to others. You know, like you can't compare your step 1 to someone else's step 20. You know, I used to look, when I first got started online, I used to look at other people and I was like, why can't I be like them? Why can't I be successful like them? But they may be like 10 years into the business and you're like 1 year into the business.
Yeah.
And I used to be really hard on myself. I was like really hard on my downfalls and my kind of struggles and stuff like that. Whereas you are always going to be harder on yourself. You're always going to be putting yourself down a lot more than anyone else. Everyone else is kind of struggling with their own stuff. You can't really be that hard on yourself and kind of compare yourself to others so much. So that's kind of the things that I've been struggling with more than anything recently, and especially towards the beginning as well.
Yeah. And I want to point out something just so people are clear. Now, I want to do just a quick public service announcement. Okay. A lot of you guys are interacting here and commenting, and I just want to just point out that there are people that build their businesses specifically by coming on our show and trying to direct message those of you who are interacting and here trying to learn. And then they slide into your direct messages trying to put our training down and then sell you something else. And they do it secretly and they do it snakily in your direct message. And I'm a capitalist. I'm all for doing business with whoever you want to do business with. But just if you're new and if you're naive about some of the people and some of their intentions in this industry, then is all I'm going to say is just be aware and be careful. If people are sliding in your direct messages secretly, just be very wary, okay, and be careful and protect yourself. Okay, here's one thing that I want to say to that I want to sort of point out, which is something that you touched on, which here at Legendary we teach people how to sell information, right, through courses, coaching, and events, and then also starting out as an affiliate marketer. And one of the reasons why affiliate marketing is so powerful and so perfect for a new person is because the only thing that you have to focus on is the marketing. You don't have to focus on team building. You don't have to focus on customer support. You don't have to focus on all of the other things that come along with doing the marketing, doing the product creation, the delivery, the customer support, and the customer happiness, I'll just call it, right? When you've got somebody who maybe is not happy, or maybe is just kind of a problem person who just kind of it just wants to cause problems, or maybe is generally kind of disgruntled with most things that they do. And that's kind of what I've found is that, you know, there's not a lot, people are not just, unless you have a shitty product, people are not just unhappy. People have patterns. And so sometimes we can even get hard on ourselves if somebody complains, but then we realize that they just are a kind of a generally disgruntled person, and they kind of have patterns of being negative and putting the responsibility on other people in their life. And that's just kind of part of the business. You have to learn how to not take it personal. But lot of you guys are wanting to eventually create your own courses. You're wanting to maybe have your own coaching programs. You're wanting to sell a course or a coaching program or an event for multiple thousands of dollars and have your own high ticket products and programs. And that's an awesome aspiration to have. And it's something that you have my permission to do it at any time you want. But one of the reasons why we recommend starting with affiliate marketing is so you can just focus on that one piece of the business, which is affiliate marketing, selling somebody else's product. Because if you can sell somebody else's product successfully, then you're more likely to know the messaging and the copy and in how to structure an offer that people actually want to buy. You're more because you've focused on that area of the business exclusively for a significant period of time. Whereas the moment that you go and now you are selling your own products and programs, all of these other departments now suddenly are open, right, James? You suddenly they're like, oh shit, customer support, merchanting, product delivery, all this different kind of stuff. And hiring people is can be a challenge. I like to, I have found, James, one of my best skills and one of my most valuable skills is finding the right partners. And say I'm very careful. I consider the people that I work with essentially partners, and I try to treat them like that, and I try to think of them like that. And because really essentially I am partnering with them. And if you're smart, you figure out ways to make it win-win, right? Which maybe is an element of profit sharing or paying them as much as you can pay them. So they're really excited about doing what needs to be done. But I found that one of my most valuable skills is knowing how to find good people. And I think that that's something, James, that is a part of it can be, kind of you're born with, but I think most of it is really a learned skill. And I've made a lot of bad choices in the past. I've made some awesome choices here more recently, and I'm really proud of the team that we have at Legendary. But I wondered if the kind of trust issues that you had as you spoke about, how are you learning what are some of the things that you are personally looking for? I'll comment on as well, but what are some of the things that you look for when you look for people to come on board your team and help build the business that you're building?
I totally agree with you. It is a learned skill. I've made a few mistakes with old team members as well. But the biggest thing that I'm looking for when I hire someone is loyalty and trustworthiness. I mean, skills can be learned as long as they've got a kind of adapt intelligence. Skills can be learned, but character and actual what's the word that I'm looking for? Character and
integrity.
Yeah. That's something that you can't teach no matter what. You can't change someone's integrity. You can't change someone's character, but skills can be taught.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with that. One of the things that the number one thing that I look for in somebody is their integrity. What do they do when nobody's looking? And I like to gauge that the first couple of months that I'm working with somebody. I like to really, really try to pay attention to how does this person operate when I'm not looking? And what I found is that everything always comes to the surface. There's a saying that I love, which is if it doesn't come out in the wash, it comes out in the rinse. And that's been true. Every single scenario, situation, and I've got enough experience now over a decade with people that I've worked around and worked with that I know that with enough time, whatever it is. I mean, I've had people steal money who were in charge in the accounting department. I've had people who have ended up having wildly destructive personal lives that spilled over into the business and basically were were so big that I had to leave the relationship. I've had people who abuse power, whether that's just a kind of a position to where they're like, just mainly it's just when somebody who has insecurities gets into a position of power where they're in charge of other people and they just abuse that power. They just, whether it's, I've had people who have sexually harassed people. That was an abuse of power, right? Those are things that you now suddenly have to be aware of, human nature. I've had people who, just mistreat people and sort of talk down to them or treat them as if they're less than because they're in more of a leadership position. So I've gone through a lot of these situations with people, and that's why those first couple of months when you're working with somebody, it's so important, in my opinion, to pay attention to their level of integrity, how they operate. What do they do when nobody's looking? And also, do they constantly need to be like managed? Like for me, I'm not a manager. I've never been a manager of people. I like to lead people. I like to work with people. So one of the big qualifications for somebody to work with me and me to work with them is I don't have to ask them to do. They kind of know what to do. Now, if I want them to do something, I do take responsibility to be very clear about my communication and very clear about what I'm asking them to do, and not beat around the bush or not, expect them to read my mind. But the general things, once we kind of get into the flow of things of operating the business and kind of what needs to be done, I don't want to have to I don't want to have to hold somebody accountable for doing the things and I don't want to have to hold people accountable for also brainstorming and thinking about new ideas and stuff like that. Like I want people to be motivated to do that. Part of it is their nature. Part of it is compensation, making it a win-win for them as well. I can say that after 10 years, I'm a lot better at it now than I was at the beginning. I would say, James, my picker was broken at the beginning. I don't know if you can relate to that at all, but if you're smart and you're aware, you really learn from those experiences and you really begin to value different things in people, like you said, right?
Yeah, I've had a number of horror stories myself where people have changed their payment details to their own to try and siphon money off. There's been people who've literally had some very, very big personal problems, like you say, who've completely derailed customer support and everything. And then you've got a big mess that you've got to clear up afterwards. And it's just, prevention is so important on that. You don't want to be tidying up messes.
Another thing that I've learned, and I think this is important for all of you new marketers to hear as well, is that I've realized that a lot more can be done with good people than it can be with more people. A lot more can get done with good quality, smart, like people who take care of themselves. I mean, these are nuggets right here. I'm letting all of you know, because the majority of people think to get to multiple six, seven figures, you got to have, your team's got to grow huge, et cetera, et cetera. And I've found that it's about quality. It's about good quality, smart people who have the characteristics and qualities that I've been listing out versus more. Because what happens when you have more, a lot of times it's the 80% of the business that's generating only 20% of the results. So now you have somebody who requires more management, more accountability holding, hand holding, et cetera. And they're working in a part of the business that's not generating the majority of the income anyways. Do you have any experience with that, James? Or is that just something that you can put in your back pocket as you grow?
That's definitely something that I can put in my back pocket. I mean, I've always had, I think my maximum was 3 members of staff at once, so I haven't had too many. And I notice you keep things quite lean at Legendary as well, considering how big Legendary is. You've got quite a small team for what you do. So That's
Well, we've grown quite a bit. We've got 79 people now.
oh, 79. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. I've
Yeah.
grown quite a bit since last time.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got 79 people now. But the way in which we, 79 people for the size of the business that we are is it's not unreasonable. And, it's, yeah, it was lean for a long time. And, I think that for me, it's as important, James, who I'm working around every day as it is how much money I'm making.
Mm.
Now I know that's a bold statement, but it really is. It really is. It's important. It's as important who I'm working around. I do not want. I can't deal with constant crisis from people.
No.
I can't deal with people who can't take care of themselves. I mean, I've done too much work in my own life to get to a place to where I've got my priorities in order and I'm not in constant crisis in my personal life, that I just don't have time to basically be somebody's it's not even about mentorship. It almost becomes a lack of boundaries at a certain point, when you basically allow somebody to continue to work with you, around you, when they can't take care of themselves. That's one of my expectations, is that I expect people to take care of themselves. And I talk about that self-care piece quite a bit. It's one of the reasons why I like talking to you, because you're big into mental health and stuff. So sort of as we bring
I would
this,
say,
oh,
I
yeah,
would
go
say
ahead.
that I would say that working with who you work with is actually more important than what you do. You've got to be around people that you enjoy working with, that you enjoy being around. It's kind of like when you're at school, right? You had some lessons that you really hated, but they were all right if you were around your friends, if it was with good people. And then if you have a lesson that you liked, it was even better when you were around good people. So it's kind of the same in your business. When you're working with people that you love, people that you like and get on with, it doesn't matter what part of your business that you're doing, as long as you're doing it with people that you get on with, people that are good at what they do, then it's going to be infinitely better doing it, right?
And you're going to have more fun solving problems. You know what I mean? It's kind of like being married. Like I feel like in a sense, this will be weird for some of you guys to hear, but in a sense, I'm sort of married to some of the people that I work with in a business sense. Like I've been in toxic relationships with people in work environments before. And it's like, it's just as stressful as a toxic relationship in your personal life, or marriage. You know what I mean? Like it's literally just as stressful. And so, yeah, I think like for if you think about my wife and I, like we've been through crisis and we've been through a lot of shit in our marriage or in our relationship pre-marriage, but now we're to a point to where we're not in constant crisis. We're not in crisis hardly ever. And solving problems with my wife and things like that, like dealing with our kids and how to take care of them and keep them alive and all of this shit, right? Because it's kind of the bare minimum some days, right? Just keep them alive, get them fed, right? Just keep them fed and don't let them hurt themselves. And then most days we can nurture their brains and their spirits, but other days we're just exhausted, and it's like kind of trying to figure out with my wife, how do we navigate life? And it's a lot more fun when you really love and like the person that you're in a relationship with. And I think in business, the same goes, when you respect, and I think that's what it boils down to also. You respect, mutual respect, mutually respecting people. And I don't really feel like I'm above anybody. I feel like I understand my responsibility, which is if a final decision needs to be made, ultimately that's going to fall on my lap. But I also don't think I'm the only one who can make a decision. I actually rely on people around me to make decisions, to be able to make decisions. And I think that's another thing, that it's your responsibility, if you're going to hire and bring people into your business, to challenge them to make decisions, because oftentimes they won't. James, I could really talk about this for a long time, seriously, because there's so much here to unpack, but I just want you to know that I love the conversation. I'm glad you're building your business so we can have these kind of type conversations, because we don't always do it, because most people are kind of at the beginning. So I'm super proud of you, man. And I'm really, really thrilled. And I'm here to help you, as I have been in the past, in the future, to help you continue to grow, my man. And I just hope you can take that in and really be proud of yourself, because I know for much of your life, like me, we've been down on ourselves. We felt badly about ourselves, and I really hope that you can hear my validation and my affirmation to you about how proud I am of you, and how good of a job you're doing of building your life and your business in a way that anybody could be proud of, my friend.
Oh, I really appreciate that, my friend. And yeah, it's good for once to be told that as well, because a lot of people during my life didn't say that. So I appreciate you, my friend, and I appreciate the help along the way. And I know it's going to be an awesome few years to go. And I'm super impressed at how you've grown Legendary as well. It's been an honor watching you grow from Legendary as well. So really,
Yeah.
really excited for the future and really excited for things to come.
Well, I know that you send a lot of people our way just as an affiliate, and you've gone through our training and you've come to our events. As a matter of fact, you're a member of our mastermind, which is awesome. You've come as a student, and we actually have asked you to speak on our mastermind stage before. For anybody who knows you or doesn't know you, or that are thinking about, hey, I've seen a couple of people in the comments, is Legendary worth it? Is their training worth it? Is it a good place that I can grow? What would you tell those people about Legendary?
I would say definitely go for it. There's a lot of different trainings out there, and Legendary is definitely one of the best that I've seen. The tips and tactics in there, the trainings in there is stuff that I've used to help build my business as well. So I'll definitely recommend it wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So if you guys know James, and you've found us through him, then now you've got multiple people in your corner who will support you and help you, and not do it for you, but root you on as you're growing. And uh and uh and and hopefully one day you guys will also come and meet James, and hang out with us at an upcoming mastermind, which I can't wait to see you, if you're able to make it over in
Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to start traveling and do events soon. I've been getting withdrawal from the lack of events that I've had over the last
Well,
couple of years.
could you just speak on that just for one moment before we wrap up? Could you just talk about the impact that getting out from behind your computer and going to live events and meeting other people from the industry and being in rooms, and how that has impacted you?
It's definitely helped. I mean, depending on what stage of the journey you're at. Obviously, when I first started in 2017, there was no way I could go out and socialize with other people. I was too nervous. At some points, I even had panic attacks being around people. So if you're at that level, then the best thing is to gradually step out of your comfort zone. But when you get to a point, there's only so much you can get from behind a computer screen. You've got to go out there, make the connections, meet new people, and push yourself out of your comfort zone. And you cannot get that same level of kind of pushing yourself behind a computer as you can out with other people. It's been integral to my growth. I think I went to like 17 events in 2018. So I was all over the place, going to lots of different events, meeting new people, and it was part of pushing myself out of my comfort zone and growing as I have over the last few years, pushing every single day, step by step, little by little, kind of pushing myself every single day. So it's been incredibly important for me to be able to go out and meet new people, actually meet people face to face as well. So
Yeah.
you get a kind of what's the word? You get more of a bond with people when you're face to face.
And we met before our mastermind. I think we met face to face. I mean, we have hung out and been around each other multiple times now in real life, not just virtually here. And yeah, it adds an element of also humanity to this, and hopefully a confidence booster, because you look at other people and you say, I mean, I'm not trying to talk down about the guy or gal, but for Christ's sakes, if they can do it, so can I. They seem to have their pants on the same way that I have my pants on, right?
Exactly.
So they must have just put them on the same way that I put mine on in that room over there, right? And I think sometimes we put people on a pedestal, and we think because they're on a TV screen, so it's like we're conditioned to look at somebody like they're a celebrity. But when they're just sitting next to us or standing over there in the same room, or we get to shake their hand and talk and hang out and laugh and just be normal people, man, for me, it's really a confidence booster. It's really like, it's really just it just is. Yeah, I look at people and I'm like, wow, man, like it's inspiring. Like the person is legitimately, if I passed so and so in a grocery store, I wouldn't look at them like, oh, there's the millionaire marketer. I wouldn't do that. Like I just be like, there's a person. You know what I mean? So I think that's an aspect that also a lot of you guys, I think, could gain a lot of confidence from coming. You've been asking when our mastermind is coming, and it's coming up. We haven't scheduled the date. We just want to make sure that we're all good with restrictions and people being able to come. But we've got several masterminds to do live upcoming. I can't wait to hang out, see you guys. It's one of my favorite forums that we haven't been able to do here for the past year and a half or so, or whatever, how feels like 20 years. But anyways, brother, I'm proud of you. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you. If there's anything I can do to help, please let me know, and please keep coming back and giving of yourself and teaching and sharing your journey with us, because it's really, really helpful.
Likewise, absolutely, my friend. I'm always happy to come on and speak. It's one of my passions, is speaking about mindset, mental health, and stuff like that. So I'm absolutely happy to come on any time we can. I'm looking forward to the platinum ring that you're going to be sending me out real soon as well.
Yeah, it's going to look beautimous. It's going to look beautimous on Yield Finger. So looking forward to sending that, my friend, and have a blessed day. Stay legendary, my friend, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Thanks. You too, my friend. Take care.
See you, James. All right, my friends. Go and find James-Neville Taylor on various social media platforms. He's not hard to find. Not huge on TikTok. I mean, he's got a TikTok account. You guys can go and follow him. But as he said, he's not big there. He's doing other things. He's doing what's working for him. And he started this journey before TikTok and some of these platforms were even hot. So there's a lot of takeaways from today's lesson. There is a element of taking care of yourself, of seeing your story through and turning your mess into a message, of using business, although it's not a substitute for professionals and medicine and whatever is going to help you. And it's not a substitute for that. But I found that my business can help me to find purpose. It can help me to learn more about myself, to realize that I've got more inside of me than I thought that I had. And eventually it's been therapeutic for me, because I have been able to be myself and share my struggles, challenges, stories with you guys, and get, in most cases, positive feedback, positive affirmation, and even occasionally be inspirational to other people. So I hope you were inspired by today's message, and also the fact that James has gone from the bottom of the barrel, complete near suicide, overdose, and a childhood that we wouldn't wish on our worst enemy, to now being a blessing to his mom, his family, and building a life in a business that he can be proud of. And I'm certainly proud of as well. So take that with you today, as you maybe were just right on the edge of stopping or quitting or throwing in the towel, and know that your time is coming. It is your time now. And the only way that you can seize that is to put one foot in front of the other. Take action today and stay in today, not in 10 years from now, not in 10. What do I need to do today to move my life and my business forward? That's the question. Figure it out. And we're here to help you. Be legendary. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Peace.